I remember one afternoon in the Bay Area in California, not too long ago, feeling just a little bit burnt out, but at the same time, also feeling a little bit antsy, a little anxious, and then, god damn it, I think there's this migraine popping up. I was sitting on the couch, wondering if I should just stand up, start pacing about in the living room, or maybe just take some ibuprofen and then slump back onto the couch. Well, choices galore, right? Then I see my sister's dog, this white Coton, hopping onto said couch and lumbering towards me. He proceeds to plop himself right next to my right leg. He leans in, digs his nose into the side of my thigh, and then snuggles against my leg. So I think here, in the dog's mind, my leg is probably some sort of cushion or pillow or something comfortable to him. And then he heaves a massive sigh. And then, without realizing it, I heave a massive sigh. Ah, peace and quiet. What am I talking about here? Well, it's near as makes no difference, a little bit after 10 p.m. right now, as I'm recording this podcast. Why record at 10 p.m., you ask? Well, because despite having all the time in the world to record, it's pretty damn noisy throughout the day. My windows, they don't exactly close in a flushed position. So every single damn car that drives by, even someone walking by the house and simply clearing their throat, the sound travels into the room and reverberates incessantly. So yeah, evening recordings it is. Until I make enough money, first I gotta get the job, to get a large mansion and dedicate one or two rooms as the studio room for podcasting. Speaking of mansions, I just finished the Netflix series The Gentleman, starring Theo James and Kaya Scodelario. Can I just say, the mansion that is being filmed is just simply epic. Can you imagine? Duke Kai and his mansion. Has a nice ring to it. And, I'll dedicate maybe 2 out of the 30 rooms for podcasting. Why 2? Well, you gotta have one as backup. Anywho, before I continue with anything, I'm sure at some point I'm going to, whether intentionally or not, make this episode sound like some sort of mental health episode. And you know what? That's okay. It probably will end up being just that. A couple years ago, I remembered someone mentioning to me the word cathartic. And this person used this word when we were talking about dogs. I was like, mind you, my English isn't half bad. I was like, the hell? What now? Sounds like it kind of gives me the impression of like rigor mortis or something. So I just think the word describing something being zombified. And this person went on and on with various variations. So the word catharsis came about as well. All the while, I just politely smiled, I nodded, and I went, yeah, you're right, and thought this person must be out of her mind, referring to dogs like zombies. And then, of course, I found out later. And in my defense, I never really used that word before. And then I was like, crap, my English is terrible. I think I really need to broaden my dictionary a little bit more. So, the Cambridge definition says, cathartic involves the release of strong emotions through either an activity or an experience, leading to some form of relief or purification or cleansing. That sounds so deep, honestly. I've seen another description about getting psychological relief, and I think it really applies to the earlier situation that I was facing. I started this episode talking about my sister's dog, but I used to have one of my own. Well, belonging to the entire family, of course, including my 2 sisters. An Australian silky terrier. Cheeky little bastards, honestly. I found that the whole day can be filled with little or major foibles. You get into quarrels with people, you get stressed over all the little things. And back then, it was really about whether or not I'd even get a passing grade on my math or biology test. But then you come back home, and the first thing you see is your dog. Sometimes he trots up to you. Oh, look, a human. Other times, he meanders, he's curious, he's wondering if you brought some treats home for him. Most times, though, he scampers and he scrambles towards you, jumping up and down, licking your face as you kneel down to pet him. And mostly he's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! My owner's alive! He's back! Treat, treat, treat! Speaking of treats, I'm forever amused by how dog owners will always, without fail, spell out the word treat in front of their friends in the presence of their dogs. TREAT. Like, let's hope our furry friends don't know how to spell, guys. And if by chance you accidentally say the word treat when none was intended or available, these guys, these owners, they get super pissed and annoyed. Like, yo, there's no treat. Now look at the poor dog. He's so miserable. It's your fault, you ass. Anyway, I digress. I come home and I see my dog. And everything in the world doesn't matter anymore. You get that feeling? You scoop him up with both arms, walk over to the couch, plop yourself and the dog down, have him or her, hey, not to be sexist or anything, on your chest, and then you feel this warmth passing through the dog's body and reaching into yours. And you just heave such a massive sigh of relief. But not before the dog does his dramatic sigh of relief first. He's probably thinking, oh crap, now I'm gonna be stuck on this dude's chest for the next 7 minutes. It's utterly peaceful. I never tried this before, but I wonder if someone has high blood pressure or is feeling super anxious that day and they use their smartwatch to check their heart rate and it's like 140 or something. Then they just try to cuddle with a dog for 3 minutes. I think their heart rate probably drops to at least 70. Honestly though, dogs are really the be-all and all fixes to many things. For me, for instance, I've got pretty fucking bad insomnia, which, by the way, I'll be creating a series for this podcast later on everything related to sleep. Either A, I would take eons to get to sleep initially, or B, I wake up in the middle of the night and then take eons just to get back to sleep, or C, I wake up a billion times all throughout the night. Or you know what? All of the above. I've tried every imaginable fix to resolve the sleep issue, but nada, frankly. But there's one fix that I feel has a higher rate of success versus the rest. I prop up my pillow and I lean slightly against the back of the bed, curl my legs up just a little bit, and do an imaginary wrap of both arms near my chest. And I imagine I have either of my sister's dogs in my arms. The furriness of it all, the warmth. And then I sleep. Yeah, sure, it doesn't work all of the time. It's not like I'm going to tell all of the insomniacs in the world to either imagine a furry pet on their chest at night or simply to go buy a pet. It's not entirely practical. I mean, do you know how fucking expensive pets are these days? But if anything, it really is a nice way to fall asleep. Anyway, the family dog we used to have passed away peacefully after 19 years. But when he was still around, I used to bring him to my room all the time, which, really irritated the crap out of my folks and my grandpa. My grandpa was this neat freak, super OCD, who was always like, yo, the dog is so dirty, why bring him to this house? Our thing back then was actually to have an outside dog, so you can understand how he felt. Anyway, I let him sleep in my room. When you do this, as I'm sure many of my 3 listeners to this podcast do, you find that your bed isn't really your bed anymore, no? Your dog, hopefully not a massive one, proceeds to take up the whole central part of your bed. So you just take the edge of the bed, hoping to all hell that you won't fall off the bed when you wake up. A few times, my dog just plopped himself onto my pillow, 4/5 of it. So on the bright side, he does give you 1/5 of that damnable pillow. On the downside, my back and one side of my neck is almost always bloody sore in the morning. But you know what? If you are lucky enough to wake up finding your dog slumped over your body, your hand, your neck, it's just damn peaceful. The pains, they're just totally, utterly worth it. And that's the thing. Whether it's a sigh or a cuddle or just a wagging tail, dogs embody that catharsis, right? Better than any therapy session one could ever have. And I think here at this point, I can just take out my checkbook and pay my sister's dogs for their therapy services. Okay, I've made it a point all throughout this 10-ish minute spiel that I'm a huge lover of dogs. And sure, the premise of this episode really is predicated on the fact that you must first own a furry doggo of sorts, or a cat, though I think cats are a little bit more aloof, or something huggable, I suppose, or just have access to one, maybe a sister's pet, a family pet, or something, or that you even like pets to begin with. And if not, well, maybe this episode is a bit moot for you. And here's where 2 out of 3 of my listeners switches over to some Linkin Park music on Spotify. But anyway, so what floats your boat? Owning a pet is crazy expensive. I heard from my sis that she got pet insurance. Otherwise, it's tens of thousands and more, right? Just to maintain a pet. Was that a year or throughout a lifetime? I think it's per year. Are there easier ways to get peace? Sure. I have my weekly ice cream, I walk in the park, and even my daily run along the beach brings some level of relaxation. But that said, nothing as peaceful as something fluffy to hold. And here's the best part. You never get sick of dogs. I mean, you can get super irritated at people who smell like they haven't showered in days, who try to get close to you. But with your dog, who literally, and I kid you not, I've seen this and experienced this before, just ate some 3-day-old horse poop on the ground, and it's like, kisses please, mwah, 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 mwah. And it's okay, right? Because it's your dog, and it's cute, and it feels peaceful. And your dog must think, the hell is wrong with you, man? I know I like poop, but do you like poop as well? Anyway, I feel, and as I think of, see, or be around dogs, catharsis, a lot of it, I wonder if dogs could speak, aside from their basic sighing, mild woofing, and crazy barking, would they also create an episode like this? Maybe the title or the premise would be like, "Stop hugging us, you mad bastards! We feel so damn hot! Bugger off!" I visited one of my sisters in Denver years ago, and one morning I was lying on the bed, prepping to get up for a run. So the night before, I borrowed my sister's dog for the evening. She was nice enough to lend me her dog anyway. It was still dark, but there were rays of light flowing in from the sides of the curtains. I stretched over to grab the dog, and I actually wanted to place his face to my face in a mini cuddle of sorts before officially getting up. But I was tired, my eyes were still a bit blurry, so I grabbed what felt like 2 legs. I brought the legs to my face. Huh, that's weird. His face seems a little bit flat this morning. Okay, never mind, it's early, I'm tired. I pulled the dog closer to my face. Huh, there's this, I don't know, moist section in what appears to be, I assume, the middle of his face. Okay, his nose, probably. I pasted the moist nose, in my mind anyway, to my lips and gave the dog a big smooch. And then it hit me. I kissed his ass.